Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Another week, another episode. This is Stats Over Politics. As always, I'm your host, Sean Holko, alongside my guys, Kevin Dent and Kaz Johnson of Just Casually. Mr. Jaevon Toddy, the Podfather, will be unable to join us tonight, but the show must go on as we're back for another episode, number 164, to recap Week 8 in the NFL. Kevin, I'm going to start things off with you. How are we doing today? Once you hit
I'm doing well, man. No complaints at all. We always talk about the group chat, and like Sean said, just another uneventful weekend of football. Everyone that we expected to win won. Besides, as you guys can read, the Jets finally won. For the audio-only listeners, that is one of the titles to the podcast. So we're going to hear from the president himself. He's been waiting for this day. It's been 7 long weeks of Tyrod Taylor, people revoking parking passes. So it's going to be nice to hear Sean talk good things about Justin Fields. I know he comes on here every week with positivity, but now you have a win to back it up. Eagles continue to win. They win 2 in a row. So I'm feeling really good. Basketball season is upon us, and time to get into the episode.
Kaz Johnson of Just Casually. How are you doing today?
Shit, I'm doing great, brother. Can't complain. Yeah. After what we saw the other day, yeah, I'm fine, bro.
Before we go to you, Sean, Kaz, I have to ask, where did you get that hat from?
So actually, I have somebody here with me right now, and she gave it to me as a gift. She saw Cooper Jean wearing it on the podcast, and she somehow found it. And when she showed up to visit me, she gave it to me. So
if you can get that link for a guy, that'd be awesome. For those of you that don't know, Kaz is wearing a Go Birds DH hat. Kaz, can you let the audio-only listener know what the DH stands for?
Yeah, and I hope your kids around me because I don't give a fuck. Go Birds Dickhead is what it means. Go Birds Dickhead. If you don't know, now you know. That's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? So this is this is what's seen on I think it was the Exciting Mike's podcast.
Exciting Whites. It is called.
No, it's Exciting Mike's, but yeah, Exciting Whites. Yes. It was it's Cooper Jeans has been wearing it, and I think that people in the chat were asking on their podcast where he got it from, and he left the link there. So I would definitely send you a link, Kevin. Brand new hat, fresh, pristine, crisp. I love it. It really speaks to somebody like me. So yeah, definitely 100% Go Birds Dickhead. If you know, you know. If you don't, now you know.
I actually did not know the origin of that hat, and so I am one of the ones who did not know, and now I know. So there you go. Great weekend for the Eagles, not so much for my San Francisco 49ers. It was a bit of a disappointment, but we will get to that in a little bit when it comes to our Week 8 NFL recap. But before we get there, we do have 3 games to dive into, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it. As the Jets beat the Bengals 39-38, the last winless team in the NFL finally has a win in the column as the Jets now move to a riveting 1-7. But as Kevin was alluding to, I am the president of the Justin Fields fan club, and I was most impressed by Justin Fields this weekend, not even what he did on the field, but what he did afterwards, the post-game press conference. And I will get to that in a moment. But before I do, I just wanted to mention some of his stats. So the Jets beat the Bengals 39-38. As we know, the Bengals are without Joe Burrow. They have Joe Flacco in there because Jake Browning from Folsom High School didn't quite work out this go-around. And so Joe Flacco comes in and he leads the Bengals to some success. And they beat the Steelers on Thursday Night Football, and they looked like they could actually compete. And now they lose at home to the Jets 39-38. But it's not because of Joe Flacco. As I mentioned, the Bengals had 38 points in this game. Flacco goes 21-34, 223 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That's a solid stat line right there. Jamar Chase, he did his part, 12 receptions, 91 yards. And T. Higgins, he had only 1 catch in this game, but that 1 catch went for a 44-yard touchdown. And so limited production from T. Higgins, but he made his 1 catch count. Now to the winning side with the New York Jets. Justin Fields, he finishes 21 of 32 for 244 yards and a touchdown. And then he rushes 11 times for 31 yards. And if you look at the graphic of today's episode, you see Justin Fields dashing into the end zone because that came on a key 2-point conversion as the Jets had multiple in this game. And so I was just really proud of Justin Fields in this game because of his poise and maturity that he showed. And I'll get to that in my thoughts on it in a little bit. But before I give my whole thoughts on this game, I want to toss it over to Kevin. What was your reaction as the Jets are no longer winless and they beat the Bengals?
This was a game that I turned off. I couldn't tell you what the score was going into the fourth, but it was a massacre. The Bengals came out and dominated. This is the Bengals team that we thought we were going to see. Like Shaun mentioned, they're missing Joe Burrow, but this is the team that we thought they were going to be. The team that just comes out, dominates from all sides of the ball, and like I said, strictly straight to the point, dominate. We saw Chase Brown getting back involved. A lot of people had Chase Brown counted out, but he's been struggling this year as well as the offense, but he's been able to finally get some production with Joe Flacco. And we kind of saw this revive when he was with the Browns maybe 2 years ago, and he took them out and took them to the playoffs. I don't know if they'll have that same result after losing to a team like this. It's really hard to say that they're going to make the playoffs. But the Bengals showed a lot. But the Jets, for them to get their first win under the new coach and the new regime, it took 8 weeks, but it's hard to win in the NFL. And that's what a lot of people fail to mention. It's the NFL's the National Football League. It's the best of the best, no matter who you're playing. Every game is going to be a good game. You're going to get everybody's best. So to see them kind of turn this around and the Jets get this done without their highest paid player in Garrett Wilson, just goes to show that, it's next man up mentality. And they were getting it done. I wanted to make sure I showed some love. Tyler Johnson, he stepped up and got it done. In Garrett Wilson's absence, everybody stepped up. Breece Hall became the Breece Hall that we saw early on in the season. The Jets, I really look at the Jets as this whole 8-game season as a 2-game season. The first game when we were like, oh shit, it's the Jets. Like they might be here. And then this Sunday, they didn't give up. And they were able to get it done for their coach. This first game our first win as a coach, as a head coach, excuse me. A lot of good things to see from this Jets team. Is this going to be them turning it around and, trying to figure it out? They've lost a lot of close games, but they also lost a lot of ugly games. So this Jets team is a roller coaster. Shaun will say it best, being the president of the Justin Fields Club, it is a roller coaster. But, as of right now, it's a roller coaster that's on a high. And, shout out to the Jets.
Yeah, I really have to enjoy this high that is the Jets win with Justin Fields leading the way. Excuse me. I really have to enjoy it for what it is because it may not come very often throughout this season. And so I'm going to bask in that glory. But Kaz, as you saw me indicate with my arms, OHIO, that was your favorite part of last week's episode as you were tuned in. But yeah, I thought that was a great point that Kevin mentioned with Garrett Wilson. I don't know why my voice is fading out right now, but as it continues to fade out, Kaz, I just wanted to get your thoughts on Aaron Glenn getting his first victory as an NFL head coach.
Yeah, when I was doing my weekly picks, that was one of those games where I'm like, shit, dude. Like, do I ride the Joe Flacco hype train and what I'm saying, like, just give the Bengals the win and the Jets are the worst team in football, this, that, and the other, or do I kind of show my nuts a little bit and be like, you know what? The Jets can win this game, which I did actually believe that it was a winnable game for the Jets. I really did. I'm like, it's not that the Bengals are a juggernaut now just because they won one game. No, that's not the case. They had a good game. Joe Flacco came in, did what he did last week, and that didn't change everything for the Bengals. It gave them some hope. I almost took the Jets to win this game just because, but I mean, the way that it panned out, the Bengals 100% should have won the game. They should have won the game. The Jets ended up sticking around for long enough. And in the NFL, if you stick around for long enough in a football game and you're heavily underdogged, you're, I think, more often not going to win the game. So I'm not surprised that the Jets did end up winning the game, but I'm more so disappointed in the Bengals. Like the fact that they couldn't just handle a team that's dismantled. They're not good. They're not, they're very far from great. Their coaching is questionable, and they allowed them to stay within arm's reach. Mind you, I'm a big guy when it comes to division. So you look at the AFC North, you got the Ravens in shambles, right? You got the Browns. Okay, you got the Bengals who, I mean, you pick Joe Burrow and those guys go to the Super Bowl. If I'm not mistaken. But you almost look, if they were to win this game, you actually look like you actually know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So like you have that, and then you also have the Pittsburgh Steelers. No team in the AFC North right now is like just this celestial being to where it's like, oh, these guys are gonna for sure, make a run. It's open. The Bengals needed to win this game. They need to win it so badly because Joe Burrow is going to make his return, and the only way they're going to have a chance to make it anywhere in the playoffs is if they have a winning record or close to it, to where they can even get in the playoffs. This is a game that you have to win. You can't lose to the Jets. They're the worst team in football. You just put on a crazy performance last week. Jamar Chase looked like the Jamar Chase that we all know, and then next week, what do? Nice touchdown to T. Higgins. Okay. And you battle it out with the Jets. You can blame defense, you can blame offense, you can blame coaching, whatever. You can't lose to the Jets. The Bengals are in a situation where they need to lose to only good teams. The Bengals should be losing to the Bills, the Rams, the Eagles, we'll say Pittsburgh. Lose to those guys, teams that are winning games. You can't lose to teams like the Jets when your season is at risk because your star quarterback is down. You have to win the games that are winnable. This is a winnable game. This is actually an embarrassment when it comes to the Bengals. It's embarrassing. You can't do that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think you really nailed it. Just when it comes to the Bengals trying to stay alive until Joe Burrow gets back, and as we know from that early timetable, it's looking like, man, I don't know what's going on with my voice today, so I apologize to the listeners. But it's looking like it's going to be 3 months until Joe Burrow is able to return. And that pinpoints him right in the middle of December, which there's going to be maybe 3 to 4 games left at most. And so the Bengals, as Kaz said, they really got to win the winnable games. And a loss like this really makes me think of my hometown Sacramento Kings, because like even last night, the Kings are playing a Lakers team without LeBron or Luka, and they let Austin Reeves drop nearly a 50-point triple-double on their head, and the Kings lose to the Lakers at home. And a team like the Kings always lose the winnable games, and then they somehow beat the best teams randomly. And for the Bengals, if they want to sneak into the playoffs and let my Super Bowl prophecy come true, then they got to win these games. And this was definitely a disappointment on that end. What I wanted to finish by saying about Justin Fields is what made me most proud from him on Sunday wasn't even what he did on the field, but it was what happened after the game when he was talking to the media in his post-game presser. He got very vulnerable, and he told the media, and he even prefaced before he said it, he was like, all right, I'm getting really vulnerable here. But he told the media that he found himself this week in his closet on the floor crying because of how the season had gone for the Jets. The fact that the Jets owner, Woody Johnson, was just talking about him publicly in a very disparaging way, saying, the problem's not the coaching staff. The problem's not this. The problem's not that. The problem is our quarterback. If we just got a better performance from our quarterback, then maybe we wouldn't be where we are right now. At the time, they were winless. Justin Fields took that on the chin, and he went out there and he got the win, not for Woody Johnson, but for himself and for his teammates and his coaches. Because after the game, there was follow-up questions to what Justin Fields was saying, just about his vulnerability. And just on that note, I have to give him so much credit and props, because as men, we don't often share our feelings in that way publicly. We may have close confidants that we will confide in, but for him being such a public figure, especially in a market like New York, where not only the fans, but the media will just tear you apart, and a statement like that and admitting to going through that personally, that is just total material for New York radio hosts to just be like, oh, our quarterback cries. Like, I bet you the next time that the Jets lose a game, they're gonna say, oh, someone's gonna make a dumbass reference saying, oh, I bet Justin Fields is in a closet crying right now. But Justin Fields, he shared a moment of vulnerability, and I think that should be commended and appreciated because we don't see that often. And then the other part that I wanted to get to is the media who were there in Cincinnati. They did their jobs in terms of asking him follow-up questions about that and about the comments that Woody Johnson made. And he said, yeah, that's all outside noise. And a media member pushed back on him and was like, how is that outside noise? That's coming from the owner. Like that is as internal as it gets. And he said, yeah, I understand the point that he's the owner. But as far as I'm concerned, that's outside noise. Because if my teammates believe in me, if my coaches believe in me, if I believe in myself, if my loved ones believe in me, then that's all I care about. And the rest is outside noise. And so my final thought on this is that Justin Fields just got to the Jets this year. The Jets have been perennial losers for decades. And what's the common theme? It's not one coach. It's not one player. It's the owner. And I circle back to my Sacramento Kings again, because here in Sacramento, we're very appreciative of Vivek Ranadive for saving the Kings from going to Seattle, Anaheim, wherever else they were going to go. But he's kind of worn out his welcome because he tinkers with the team too much. And when you have an owner who has their hand in the pot too much, that's when you see the team start to fail, because the owner thinks he knows everything, because the owner has had success that has led them to having millions and billions of dollars that they think, oh, I know everything. I can fix this team. And then they end up making it worse. And that's exactly what Woody Johnson has done for decades. And that's what Woody Johnson, I don't know if he did it intentionally, but that's what he attempted to do this week by disparaging his quarterback in a public manner. And so credit to Justin Fields for not only showing vulnerability, which we don't see very often, but also the fact that he went out there and he let his play do the talking, and he led the Jets to their first win of the season. And so I shared to our group chat on Instagram, proud president, because I am proud of Justin Fields and who he was as a man, not only a player, but who he was as a man this past weekend. And so it may be a party of one, but we are partying it up in the Justin Fields fan club this week. And kudos to him.
God damn, brother, you love that motherfucker for God damn. You love Justin Fields, damn.
Well, you know, Kaz, it's one of those things where I like hitched my wagon to Justin Fields once he got to Ohio State, and I was like, this is my dude. I'm rocking with him. And I think back, I always reference this on the podcast, but I think back to when Justin Fields was leading Ohio State throughout the college football playoff, and I was like, this is the guy. And I wanted the 49ers to draft Justin Fields. And when they didn't, I was quite disappointed. And, you know, his NFL career hasn't really panned out the way that he may have wanted or how I may have expected, but he's still out there and he's still starting for an NFL team. And he led an NFL team to a victory this past weekend. And so it's like, as I said earlier, there's not many victories to take, but I'm going to ride with Justin Fields until he is no longer an NFL quarterback. It's just, that's my guy. And so I'm going to continue to rock with him. Even if I look dumb sometimes, I'm going to continue to rock with him. And that's just how I feel about it. So I'm loyal. I'm loyal to my core. And this is kind of just one of those things. But
I mean, you hold on. I mean, you like who you like. It's like me with Miles Sanders. It's like, I can't never say a bad thing about Miles Sanders, even though he's not anymore. But I loved Miles Sanders. I thought when we got rid of him, it was the biggest mistake in the world. And it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, we have Saquon now. And after Miles Sanders, we got DeAndre Swift, who's, you know, both those guys are better running backs. It's just called what it is. But I'm like, I think Miles kind of got blackballed a little bit, you know, in Philadelphia, where it's like, that was not a bad running back. I'm going to defend that guy for a long time. And you give him the carries, he produces every time. So I get it, man. I totally get it.
I appreciate that as we keep things moving here on episode 164, Stats Over Politics. Shaun Holko alongside Kevin Dent and Kaz Johnson. Jaevon Toddy is here with us in spirit, guys. As Kevin said at the top, this wasn't a very exciting week of NFL football in number 8, but we did get a juicy storyline. entering Sunday Night Football, and that was Aaron Rodgers playing the Packers for the first time in his career, and Green Bay got the last laugh as the Packers go to Pittsburgh and they depart with a 35-25 victory as Jordan Love, the student, beats the mentor. And after the game, Jordan Love was saying to Aaron Rodgers, I need that, as in I need that jersey that you're wearing. And Blue wanted it as well. But I just feel bad for Jordan Love in this case because, of course, the one game that he ends up playing Aaron Rodgers, they are wearing those ugly-ass Bumblebee jerseys. Yeah, they're absolutely dreadful. Like, and that's the jersey that Jordan Love is going to end up having hang on his wall. Like, I did see that a report said that they were going to exchange jerseys at a later date. And so maybe Jordan or maybe Aaron was the one be like, you don't want this one. I'll give you a different one. Like, hang it up. We played, but you don't want this one. Because think about it. Like, that's the one. Kevin, you have the two jerseys hanging behind you. Like, that's the jersey that's going to be – and Kaz, you have the Michael Vick jersey as well. But that's the jersey that's going to be hanging up on Jordan Love's wall for decades. And he'll pass it on to his children or grandchildren. And would you want to pass a nasty-ass jersey like that throughout the family? I personally wouldn't. So I guess we'll see later on, probably on social media or whatever, from Jordan Love. But point being, Aaron Rodgers goes for revenge in this game, and he does not get it. The Packers win 35-25. And so, Kaz, I'm going to toss this one to you first. What were your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers losing to the team that he will be retiring with one day?
Yeah, I mean, the Packers are good, man. Like, I mean, that's a good team. That's a very complete team. And the Steelers haven't showed us anything, outside of what's expected from the Steelers that would lead anyone to think that they're going to beat the Packers, whether it be in Pittsburgh or in Green Bay. If it's in Green Bay, it would have been worse. But you have a complete football team going against a team that only thrives when you get DK Metcalf going. That's it. If you guys look at the Packers, or not the Packers, but the Steelers offense, when they've had success, it's because DK has gone off. It doesn't matter about the amount of receptions. It's the fact that the guy is getting touchdowns. You contain DK Metcalf, you contain the Steelers. It's that simple. And it kind of sucks for Pittsburgh because they have guys on that defensive side. They have guys on the offensive side outside of DK Metcalf that can make plays. But the problem is they're very one-dimensional. That's it. That's the Steelers. You take away their pass game with DK Metcalf, they're nothing. You saw exactly what happened in the Packers. I mean, they game planned beautifully. On top of that, the Packers are younger, they're faster, they're just better, all around a better team. So I did take the Packers to win, but I really thought that the Steelers would put up a better fight. I thought that it was going to be like a very, down to the wire, gritty, hard-nosed game, but it's like, no, the Packers just had their way. They did. And you got Tucker Kraft looking like a tight end one in the NFL right now. The dude cannot be stopped. Okay, you got Jordan Love, who's playing well. He's a good quarterback. The Packers defense, I mean, they're literally smothering Aaron Rodgers and that entire Steelers offense to the point to where they need to kind of hope and wish for something big to happen to be in this game. So the Packers, I mean, the better team did win. This is called what it is. The better team did win, but it kind of stinks because if they did still have like a George Pickens, this might be a different story because you're seeing what George is doing over there in Dallas. I don't know why or what possessed them to get rid of him when they got DK Metcalf. Maybe it's a locker room thing, whatever. But I'm like, you guys have George Pickens there. This is a complete different team in my eyes for the better. So the Steelers are a team that they're gonna be riding the ledge the entire way throughout the season. They're never going to just go out there and just outright handle a team that's good. They're not going to go out there and outright just beat a Bills team, beat an Eagles team, beat a Chiefs team. They're not going to. They're going to have the best game of their life to beat good teams. So now you have them playing against the Packers, who's one of the best teams in the NFC. It was never in their cards to win this game. So like I like the Steelers. I kind of low key root for them a little bit, because I like Aaron Rodgers and I'm a big DK fan as well. But they're not a team they weren't a team that were equipped to beat the Packers, home or away, and so the end result was the end result, and that's just that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you because we talk about my friend Keith a lot on this podcast, and even former co-host Gary or cousin Cordell. I know a lot of Steeler fans, and some Steeler fans have been riding high this season. And I think about that Bengals game on Thursday night as like a perfect example of the course of this Steelers season. Like Aaron Rodgers was out there slinging it on Thursday Night Football. I remember the first touchdown of the game. I texted all my Steeler fan friends, and I was just like, that's vintage Rodgers. He's rolling out to his right, throws a fucking dart right to whichever receiver it was. And I was just like, that is vintage Rodgers right there. And for the Steelers, it just seems like if the offense is humming, then the defense is having a bad day. If the defense is having a great day, then the offense can't get anything going. And so this Steelers team really reminds me of the later years of Ben Roethlisberger, where it's like the Steelers will be good enough, and you kind of already hit on this, Kaz, but the Steelers will be good enough to get them into the playoffs, but whether or not they will be good enough to get them past the first round is the biggest question. Because that same night on Thursday Night Football a couple of weeks ago, when I was texting with my friend Keith, he said, "Oh, we're going to the Super Bowl. No one can tell me anything otherwise." And I was like, "Well, that'd be great for you because we live in Northern California and it'll be in Santa Clara again this year." So I was like, "You can drive down the street and go watch your team play in the Super Bowl." Then they proceeded to lose to the Bengals and Joe Flacco on Thursday Night Football. And the Steelers, they are just not consistent enough to be considered real contenders, because the thing I said to him at the time was, okay, what's going to happen when you play the Bills? What's going to happen when you play the Chiefs? What's going to happen when you play insert another contending team? Even what's going to happen when the Steelers play the Colts? I never thought I would pose that question, but yet here we are when they stand at 7-1. And so the Steelers, to me, are playoff contenders, yes, but they're not Super Bowl contenders. And a game like this proved it. And Kaz, when it comes to the Packers, I talked enough about the losing team. When it comes to the Packers, Micah Parsons is looking like a tremendous addition for them. Duh. But he has just fit in perfectly. He has been the defensive anchor that they have needed. And now Jordan Love has turned into a Pro Bowl quarterback, maybe even be an all-pro quarterback by the end of this season. And with the thing I like the most about this Packers team is the addition of Josh Jacobs was great. But when they had all those young receivers, I think, was it last year that they had like 2 rookies, like 3 second-year guys, and it was just a bunch of young guys. And when you had that, everyone's like, oh, I don't know who to pick for my fantasy team. Who is this guy? You see Romeo Doubs out there wearing the Guardian cap, and everyone wants to talk about his helmet rather than what he's actually doing out there on the field. But Jordan Love has quickly developed chemistry with all of these guys, and they have proven that they have potential. And that's even adding in Matthew Golden, who just got drafted out of Texas this year, and he hasn't really like blown up this season, but it's because he's just fitting in the offense of a bunch of other guys that already have that chemistry with Jordan Love. And the Packers look like a real contender. I know for me as a 49ers fan, I'm just hoping that my team squeaks into the playoffs. But for you guys as Eagles fans, you may tell me I'm wrong, but I'd be a bit concerned about the Packers when the playoffs come. And so we shall see when that time comes. But before we get there, Kevin, what were your thoughts on the Packers beating the Steelers 35-25 in Aaron Rodgers' first game against his former team?
You mentioned it. If he would have been able to win this game, he would have been one of 2 quarterbacks to beat every team in football. So that would have been something cool to say. But the Packers, like Shaun mentioned, they're doing it with the 3 of us at receiver. They're going out there and they're doing whatever they can. Kaz mentioned it. I think it's time to have those serious conversations about Tucker Kraft. Is he the best tight end in football if everyone's healthy? I'm still probably going to lean Brock Bowers. But with Brock Bowers being out this year, we're seeing Tucker Kraft. And because that wide receiver room is so diminished, Tucker Kraft is the main target. It's Josh Jacobs handing the ball off or throwing the ball to Tucker Kraft. And Jordan Love is showing that when he's healthy, which we all understand is when he's healthy, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the world. Yes, Micah Parsons is a great addition to this defense. I 100% believe that. But we're going to see, can this team really score points? We saw this game in the Dallas game where when they have to score points, they can. When they don't want to score points, Micah Parsons came out and said it early. All they got to do is score 21 points, and this defense isn't going to allow 21 points. So you score 3 touchdowns, there's a good chance we're going to win that game. As far as them being a threat to the Eagles, due to them not having a receiving threat, I don't think so. I think that's going to really hurt them in the long run. I know Christian Watson's back. They're going to get Jalen Reed back, Matthew Golden. They have all these names, but they're not being able to figure it out. So if you, for example, I understand that CeeDee Lamb really struggles against us, but when you only have one weapon, it's easy to take your team out of the game. So for them to only have Tucker Kraft at this moment and Josh Jacobs, it's going to be hard for them to really win games in the playoffs because they're going to take away Tucker Kraft in the playoffs. And it's going to say, Romeo Doubs, go beat us. Christian Watson, go beat us. Jalen Reed come back off the injury if he returns, go beat us. And a lot of these teams that they're playing don't have a Sean Mitchell and a Cooper DeJean. So I feel like that's going to help as well. But the Packers are a very good team. And in 2 weeks, we'll be sitting here after Monday Night Football game, debriefing the game versus the Packers and the Eagles. So it's going to be a good game to see. As long as we can get Saquon Barkley healthy after the bye, I think it's going to be a good game.
I do think it would be a good game, and I'm really looking forward to the playoffs because I have a strong feeling that I'm going to end up watching the playoffs from an unbiased perspective, and that's kind of how I felt watching the MLB World Series earlier between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays, where I don't really have a horse in the race on either side. Like, I'm rooting for the Blue Jays because there's a guy who's from Sacramento and went to Sac State on their team. But other than that, I'm just watching good baseball. And you got a guy like Shohei Ohtani who is just absolutely going nuts out there. And so I enjoy watching sports from an unbiased perspective, but it's always fun when I get to see my team in it. And so Aaron Rodgers, he missed out. This was going to be my pop quiz question from last week, but I want the new season of the pop quiz to start when we have Jaevon on the panel as well. But the question was going to be who or Aaron Rodgers, if he beat the Packers, who would he join to as a quarterback who has defeated all 32 teams? And he would join 4 other guys, which is Brett Favre, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and Peyton Manning. And so Aaron Rodgers swung and missed on that opportunity this week. Maybe he'll get another chance, but it seems like this is going to be his last season. So probably unlikely.
I was like me in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, shoot, man, that'd be pretty nuts. Because Kaz and I were just talking about. Yeah, right. We sure wouldn't. Yeah, Gary would pop back up on the podcast just to say my Steelers. Anyways, as we keep things moving here on episode 164 of Stats Over Politics, Shaun Holko alongside Kevin Dent and Kaz Johnson, Jaevon Toddy here with us in spirit. As we move on to the last game that we're diving into in depth, this looked like a solid game at halftime, going in 7-7, but then the Chiefs proved that they still are the contenders that they are. They defended home field, and I mean, the Commanders were out there with Marcus Mariota, and his peak was in college when he won the Heisman, and he's basically been a solid backup ever since. As the Chiefs beat the Commanders 28-7. Kevin, I'm tossing it to you first. What was your reaction to this one? As I would say, would you actually, better question. Would you say that your disdain for the Chiefs is stronger than the Commanders, even though they're your division rival?
I wouldn't call them our division rival. I think that's a stretch.
Okay. See, that's why I was wondering.
But I'll say the Chiefs, just because, if it wasn't for them, there would be 3 jerseys hanging behind me. And I'd be talking a lot crazier. I already talk crazy as it is, but if we would have had one, if we would have got that one, it would have been a lot. But I will let you know if we would have won the first one, lost the second one, it wouldn't have felt as good. But this game was hard to watch. 0-0 first quarter, 3 interceptions. As a football fan, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but they need to make a separate stat for interceptions that aren't caused by the quarterback.
Yes.
Because Travis Kelce dropping that ball and becoming a pick, like we're gonna look at that and then you're like, oh well, he had this many picks. But it's like if there was a category for just drop passes that become picks or balls that are tipped at the line that become picks, I feel like we'd be able to look at quarterback stat lines completely different. But that's neither here nor there. They still would win the game. Rashee Rice makes this offense so much better. So much better. I can't sit here and lie. The Chiefs look scary. If they can get this defense in wraps again, this offense is going to be able to put up points. Kareem Hunt is turning back the clock each Sunday that goes by. All the Isaiah Pacheco fantasy owners are hurting because he gets all the goal line carries. They're now even giving Rashee Rice goal line carries. Travis Kelce is able to look like Travis Kelce because they have guys like Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice on the outside to open up the field. Patrick Mahomes is playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. After week one, if you would have asked me that, I would have said no. This offense was struggling. We didn't really know what we were going to see every night. But Rashee Rice back. I know the Raiders game, we can't really talk much about it. I think Kaz talked about it. I think the clip would have lasted like 10 seconds. So the Raiders game wasn't really much to see. Same with this Commanders game. It's funny because this last year, everyone was a Commanders fan. Everyone was texting my phone. Jaden Daniels MVP. Jaden Daniels top 8. And now, hopefully, knocking on wood, I hope he's not going down the RG3 trajectory. Just that O-line is abysmal. Deebo Samuel is washed. I don't want to hear about all the stats that he had against bad teams. Today, like I said, that should be a category where it's not on the quarterback. He threw it right into his hands. He bubbled it, and it ended up in the Chiefs' hands. This Commanders team has a lot of holes. So they spent a lot of money on Terry McLaurin. This was his first game back. Yeah, he got to the end zone, so that's always nice to see. But they have a lot of things that they got to figure out. It's not just a Jaden Daniels situation, because I feel like even with Jaden Daniels, this team isn't good. So maybe, it's like I'm trying to think of another example of a team that really peaked really early. For basketball reference, the Atlanta Hawks, they went to the ECF. The Commanders went to the NFC Championship game last year, and they went all in. They got a Larry Tunsil. They're trading away draft picks because they think they're going to be back. And now, 2020 vision, would they have done that now, knowing how the season was going to play out? Probably not. But it's sad to see. I was really happy to hear that all the Commanders fans were back. But, now it's sad to see how everything's playing out.
Yeah, before this game, Kevin asked me if I wanted to switch my pick because I told him a couple of weeks ago that I'm tired of these everyone graphics, and so I was going to be the one to pick against the Chiefs. But after what happened to me last week, I was out. I was like, nope. I switched my pick last week, and I went from 2-0 to 0-2 on Monday Night Football. So if Jaden Daniels was playing in this game, then I actually would have considered it. But with Marcus Mariota out there, I was like, no, sir, I'm not gonna be me. But also, if you look at recent history, the Chiefs had won 8 games in a row against Washington coming into this game. So now they made it 9 in a row. And so Kansas City just has their number. Kaz, throwing it to you, 2-part question for you as well is, who do you despise more, the Chiefs or the Commanders? And what were your thoughts on this game overall?
Despise?
Yeah, I hate, dislike, whatever word you want to put in there. I said disdain for Kevin.
I don't really despise either team because, one, we've already beat the Chiefs, and we should have beat them twice in the Super Bowl. So, therefore, I don't give a fuck about the Chiefs, honestly. I really don't. And we beat them this season. So, therefore, I say this. Therefore, I'm like, the Chiefs are nothing to me as an Eagles fan. As for the Commanders, they had one good season. The last time they won the division was when the division was fucking in shambles. And they're on the same scale as the New York Giants. I don't despise any of them. If anything, I feel bad for the Commanders because they are a poverty franchise. And the Chiefs, it's like, I respect you. Obviously, you have to respect the Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? What Mahomes is doing is crazy, but I don't necessarily despise any of them. But when it comes to this game, it's simple as this. Marcus Mariota. Like, y'all think that the Chiefs are going to lose to Mariota when the Chiefs are kind of in a must-win now situation, believe it or not, because Their division, I mean, they got the Broncos and the Chargers who are playing really well right now. Don't fuck around and lose out on a chance at the first round bye. Yeah, think about this. Okay. Look at the AFC. AFC West. Obviously, you got Chiefs, you got the Broncos, you got the Chargers. Raiders not in the question. AFC South. Let's just talk about the Colts. AFC East, you have the Bills, obviously, and the Patriots, who might be low-key my favorite to win a division. Then the AFC North. The Ravens are in shambles. The Bengals, they're in shambles. The Steelers are beatable. And then you have the fucking Browns. The AFC is open. It's up for grabs. Like that whoever ends up getting that first round bye out of the AFC, like it's probably gonna be one of the most deserved first round byes ever. Because there is no outright just best team coming out of the AFC. There isn't. Not right now. So you look at the Chiefs, it's like the fact that you're doing what other teams should be doing and winning winnable games. This was a winnable game. It's Marcus Mariota. It's the Commanders who are not good right now. I mean, the Commanders are only going to be good with Jaden Daniels. That's it. Let's just call it what it is. If he's out of the game, they're not going to be good. Okay. When he's in a game, it's also questionable because they got rid of one of the most valuable assets, which I thought was crazy, and that is Brian Robinson. So they do that and go get Austin Eckler's old ass. That was a failed experiment. And now look at them. Terry McLaurin damn near wanted out. He wanted out of Washington. Was holding out. Now he comes back and does what? Some fantasy points. This isn't a situation where I could ever take the Commanders to beat the Chiefs. Even if Jaden Daniels played, I'm still picking the Chiefs to beat the Commanders. I'm sorry. This is not a team that had any sort of potential to beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs started off slow because they were not healthy. That's it. They were getting guys back. And the addition of Rashee Rice, I think, Shaun, you said it best. It's like, dude, like they're a good offense. Mahomes now is or I think it was Kevin, actually. I think Mahomes is looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Rightfully so. He's obviously one of the best. You know, he is the golden child. But now Rashee Rice comes back and immediately is making an impact. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs win the next 5-6 games straight. I'm serious. Like, this is why it kind of sucks if you're a Chargers fan or if you're a Broncos fan, because you guys need to be as close to as undefeated as possible, because messing around and waiting around and lingering around for the Chiefs to get their mojo back, because why would you expect them not to? They do it every year. They've done it since 2018. Since Mahomes has become the renowned starter for the Chiefs, what have they done? Why would this year be any different? They haven't lost anything. Kelsey's a little bit older. Cool. They still got Hollywood Brown there. They still got Juju who can make plays. Noah Gray, and on the other side of Kelsey, who Mahomes finds ways to get him involved. Then you have the two-headed monster that is Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's a monster. People forget about that because of the scandal that happened, 5-6 years ago when he had that issue with that girl, right? Dude, before that happened, he was a top running back in the NFL. No, not injury prone. He's not, nothing. You pretty much have the same. You have a watered down version of what they have in Detroit with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. That's it. It's just a watered down version of it. Pacheco's a hard runner. Kareem Hunt is a good running back. You got Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, seasoned vet. Noah Gray on the other side. Juju Smith-Schuster can make plays. You got Xavier Worthy, one of the fast guys in the league, can make plays. You got Hollywood Brown, who at one point was the wide receiver one of the Baltimore Ravens, and then Rashee Rice comes back. What the fuck did you guys expect? What did you expect? Well, we're going to go out there and we're playing the Commanders because of some bullshit Jaden Daniels did a year ago. It was cool seeing what the Commanders did last year as an NFL fan and as a Commanders fan, I guess you could say. But, let's just call it what it is. That's not normal. You're seeing the Commanders for what they actually are right now. And when they play teams like this, whether Jaden's involved or not, you're seeing it. So this game is very, very much so expected. So expected. Like, anybody who thought the opposite of what happened was gambling. And that's just that. There's no way. You look at that Chiefs team and go, yeah, they're going to lose to the Commanders today. No, not at all. So I don't want to say that the Chiefs are scary because, like I said, we've already beaten them a handful of times, But what I will say is this: if you are in the AFC, don't get comfortable. Do not get comfortable because they're not only right there, stepping on your coattails. They're in the mix legitimately. They might end up winning the AFC. And that's bad, mainly because the Ravens are injured, but regardless, they might end up winning the AFC, honestly.
Death, taxes, and the Kansas City Chiefs contending for an AFC championship. It just seems to happen all the time. If I remember correctly, guys, the Chiefs have made it to the AFC championship game every single season since 2019, is it? And so, yeah, that's not a bold prediction in all honesty, but with how everyone tries to count the Chiefs out time and time again, I think Kaz is just saying what needs to be said at this point because the Ravens were the popular pick among many. I strayed out into the left
Super Bowl
field
favorites on every betting app. They were Super Bowl favorites. The Ravens were
exactly.
Just like they are every year.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, and they were the Super Bowl favorites on this podcast. I remember 4 panelists choosing the Ravens to at least get to the Super Bowl. A couple panelists had the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. But, Kevin, I believe you had the Ravens getting to the Super Bowl as well, but losing to the Eagles. And so everyone except for me had the Ravens going to the Super Bowl. I had the Bengals, so another AFC North team. But, yeah, it's like every year we try to just pick someone else to get there, but it's like if you pick the Chiefs, chances are you're like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, coming out of the AFC, are you picking the Chiefs or are you picking the field? And at this point, based on recent history, it's like a 50-50 shot at this point. And
Chiefs
so
invitational.
Like, yeah, exactly. And so we shall see. I, as a fan of a team that lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl twice and did not get our get back, fucking hate them. I will reiterate that. I hate them. Disdain, hatred, dislike, whatever word you want to insert in there, I hate the Chiefs. And I think I hate the Chiefs more than I think the Seahawks are the one team that I hate more than the Chiefs. But other than that, they're pretty high up there on the list. As we keep things moving here on episode 164 of Stats Over Politics, Shaun Holko alongside Kevin Dent and Kaz Johnson. We're keeping things moving. I appreciate all of you who have been dealing with me and my technical difficulties throughout today's broadcast. Kevin alerted me that my camera has been going in and out. I haven't noticed it on my end, but I apologize to those of you who may be tuning in on YouTube, Twitch, or Instagram for my technical difficulties today, as we're closing things out with our last segment on today's episode, which is our speedy NFL recap. And we're going to get to week 8 in the NFL. Kevin, last Thursday, you and I were here right after week 8 started. We talked about the game briefly, but we didn't really get into it too much. So if you could, just give me your thoughts on the Chargers beating the Vikings 37-10.
Belt to ass from start to finish. Shaun and I, before the show, talked about Carson Wentz and his injuries. He's now having season-ending surgery on his elbow, shoulder, I believe. So it's sad to see.
On his left non-throwing shoulder.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was talking to Wes, and I was like, dude, like this might be it. Like I don't know if he'll get another shot. He set a record for being the only quarterback for 6 consecutive years to start on 6 different teams. So we've seen a lot of Carson Wentz, a lot of good, a lot of bad. But unfortunately, I think this might be the end. So if it is Carson, God bless you, brother. I wouldn't have one of those if it wasn't for you.
Yeah, I completely agree. And kudos to him for how he was able to grit his way through the pain of last week's game, because you could tell that he was in so much pain throughout that game. You saw him on the sidelines leaning back, and he was just gritting his teeth because he was hurting so much. And now we see why, because he had a season-ending left shoulder injury that likely got worse. As I said last Thursday, he was taking abuse out there, and appropriately so, his season has come to an end. I just hope that his NFL career hasn't come to an end. But if it has, it was a good career. He's a Super Bowl champion, even though he didn't get to do it as a starter. And so, as Kevin said, kudos to Carson Wentz on his career if this is it. But now getting to the next game, I talked about this game at the top. Don't really want to talk about this game, but I sure will, as the Texans beat the 49ers 26-15 in Houston. And, you know, the score may not necessarily indicate it, but this was another belt-to-ass whooping because the Texans controlled this entire game. The 49ers were just trying to score to just compete. The 49ers offense could not do anything. In the first half, the 49ers defense was doing what they could. They were holding the Texans to multiple field goals. And then going into halftime, the 49ers, they got a touchdown right before halftime. You had Mac Jones throwing into double coverage to George Kittle, and George Kittle doing George Kittle things as a top 5 tight end in the NFL as he snags it between 2 defenders. And I believe one of them was Derek Stingley, who is a hell of a defensive back. And so the 49ers, they were just trying to stay alive in this game. And the Texans, they got a well-earned win. And, you know, the Texans needed this win much more than the 49ers because if they lose, they drop to 2-5 versus the 49ers with a loss drop to 5-3. Obviously, for the 49ers, they are trying to stay alive in the division race and the wild card race and just stay alive as much as they can with all the injuries that they've been dealing with. But all I could think about with this game is, man, the 49ers really struggle with the AFC South because they lose at home to the Jaguars, and then the Jaguars go to London and get absolutely destroyed by the Rams. And then you have the 49ers playing the Texans, a team that the Rams already beat earlier this season, and they lose to the Texans by double digits. It just doesn't make sense. And even you throw in the Buccaneers lost, all 3 of the 49ers losses have been teams from South divisions, 2 from the AFC, 1 from the NFC. And the 49ers just seem to struggle with teams from the South this year. And this was a prime example of it. It was an ugly game all around from the 49ers, but putting my 49ers bias aside, I got to give kudos to where it's due to my guy from the Ohio State University, CJ Stroud, who had a season high 318 passing yards in this game. And he actually looked pretty solid. And so kudos to CJ Stroud. I'm proud of him for the game that he had. And it sucks that it came at the expense of my 49ers, but nevertheless, the Texans get the win. As Kaz, if you're ready to jump back in here, the Ravens beat the Bears 30-16.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Had to eat my food.
All good.
No, you're good. First off, I called the game. Okay, so this game was Vegas all day for Kaz. All day. I'm like, why are the Ravens favored by 6 points? That's crazy. No, before Lamar, anything like that. I don't care if Lamar was even active on Tuesday before the game even played. Favored by 6 points at home when you look that dog shit. I'm like, oh my God. I go, this is easy for sure all day. They know something. I don't know what they know, but they know something. Then all of a sudden, well, Lamar's also not going to play. I'm like, I don't give a damn. The fact that they were favored by 6 after literally looking like dog shit for the first 6 weeks of football. I'm like, yeah, nah, I'm good, bro. I go, the Bears have been on a streak. I think they started off 0-2 and they won 4 straight. And mind you, I just made a bet. I ain't gonna hold you. You know what I'm saying? Like I got evidence right here on my phone. I might pull it up a little bit. Well, I'm in the Midwest, so you know whose fans around here is they all Bears and Vikings and Packers, okay? And a couple Lions fans, right? And Chiefs. I'm at the bar last week while the Bears are doing what they're doing, you know what I'm saying, handle the business, right? And somebody's like, yeah, the Bears they're gonna go 7-2, start 7-2. I'm like, no, they're not. He's like, oh yeah, no, we'll be 7-2 before it's all said. And I go, you will not win 7 games. You already start off 4-0 after their win last week. You're not winning 3 straight. Oh, we got the Ravens and da. I go, I don't care who you have. You're not winning 7 games straight. Like that's not going to happen. You guys aren't the team to do that. There's not a team in the league that's going to do that probably this season. Why the fuck would the Bears do it? So I made a nice easy $50 off that guy immediately because they lost obviously Sunday, but It's not that the Bears aren't good. I do believe in Caleb. I really do. I've told you guys this before on the podcast. And they have Rome Odunze's a dog. That's a fucking dog. DJ Moore, DeAndre Swift playing well this season. I'm like, dude, the Bears, when they're clicking, as long as Caleb's protecting the ball, bro, they're a good team. They have a very, very good offense and it has a very high upside. Their coach, he's doing his thing right now. And the fact that they've won 4 straight, I don't remember the last time the Bears won 4 games in a row. I don't. I really don't. If I had to look, I bet the Bears won the last time they won 4 games straight. I guarantee you, without me looking it up, was before 2010. That's a long ass time. So I don't know about the Bears. I think they're a good team, like I said, when they're clicking, but the fact, again, Vegas all day. When I saw that spread, -6 Ravens at home against the Bears that are hot, potentially no Lamar Jackson, I'm out. So when I watched this game, I was like, bro, like Bears getting their ass kicked. I'm like, what did you guys expect? Like, did you guys not look at the lines? Something was in the cards, you know what I mean? And I think the Bears will be fine. I think the Bears make the playoffs this year. I really do. But that line was weird. That threw me so far off that I immediately picked the Ravens to win that game. Because I'm like, how? How can they be favored by so many points at home when they have 1 win? Yeah, I think it was 1 win. Yeah. So I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, no. This is weird as hell.
Bears next time you get that feeling, let me know because I took the Bears money line. So next time,
nah, bro. I gotta tell you, bro. Next time, I'll let you know for sure. But I'm like, man, like -6. Just to give you guys a perspective, when teams on the road and you're a good team, you're usually like 3.5 point, 4.5 point underdogs. 6-point dogs is an ass whooping. If you're a 6-point underdog and you're a good team, that's like for example, if the Bills are to play, we'll say the Cardinals in Arizona. We know the Bills are better, but the fact that they're in Arizona, it's going to be 7.5 points or something like that, 8.5. You know what I mean? Just respectfully, you know, it's not going to be a 14-point spread, you know, a 16-point spread. No, because that's crazy. You know, the highest you usually see is like 14 points. That's about as high as I'm going to get in the NFL. You know, win by 2 touchdowns. And that's if you're at home. On the road, the Bears are going on the road into Baltimore, and the Ravens are absolute dog shit right now. They don't even have a quarterback, and they're favored by a touchdown, not 3 points. They're favored by a touchdown, -6, 6, 2 field goals, touchdown, whatever you want to call it, right? Oh yeah, easy pickings. So I think that if the Bears play the Ravens, back to my whole 7-game series thing I usually do. I usually do 9-game series, right? 9-game series. In a 9-game series, I think that the Ravens and the Bears come close to splitting, but the Bears still get the edge. So I think the Bears are a better team. I think that any given Sunday, they probably do beat the Ravens, but seeing that spread did it for me. That was it. That I saw that. I'm like, what in the fuck is this? This is crazy. Ravens all day. That's it.
Yeah, that's understandable. And when I saw that initial line, I thought it was because they were projecting for Lamar Jackson to return, but then Lamar Jackson got ruled out like over 24 hours before that game started. And as we know, Vegas jumps all over that.
Yeah, and I thought that too. I'm like, okay, so Lamar returns, but you can't. Here's the thing, though, Sean, you can't ignore the fact that the Bears are they're on a 4-game win streak and they're looking good. Mm-hmm. So even if Lamar returns, we know that the Ravens are bad because Lamar's not there. We know that. We all anybody who watches football knows that. We get it. But does that mean that immediately you guys can win by 6? I mean, 3.5, 4.5. Let Lamar get his feet wet. Derrick Henry's been non-existent up until this game, obviously, but has been non-existent since Lamar's been out. It's like, how can you give them a whole fucking touchdown when it comes to sports betting? I'm a big sports bettor. How can you give them a whole touchdown at home and you look like dog shit against a team that's on a 4-game win streak? And their offense
we always talk about like Vegas knows something that we don't. And I ultimately saw after the final score was posted what the indication was. And it was the fact that Tyler Snoop Huntley was starting at quarterback for the Ravens instead of Cooper Rush. And he ultimately led them to that 14-point win.
He did. But yeah, that was it, man. It was for me, it was just all Vegas. I'm like, I saw the line. I'm like, nope, Ravens. Ravens. Clicked it, done. Not looking back at it, Ravens.
Yeah. Well, good job on your end. That's one of the many reasons why you are absolutely dominating our Stats Over Politics pick'em, where Jaevon, Kevin, and I was nipping at your heels for a bit, but then I fell back and I tried to get cute with some picks to try and make up ground, and now I've fallen further back, and now Jaevon, Kevin, and I are all fighting for second place, and we're all fighting for last place simultaneously. Meanwhile, you're just in your own league, like 10 games ahead of us.
This was a tough week for me, though. This was not I really wanted, because of 13 games and six teams on buys this week. I'm like, please, man, just can you be comfortably above 500? And of course, the teams that I picked, I'm like, just can't. I have the lead right now in our pick 'em, and I'm just like, just extend that lead. And I'm like, no. After noon games, I'm like, shit. It just ain't gonna happen. So, you guys, I'm not sure what you guys look like right now without checking out my phone or whatever, but I'm like, this was a good chance that we could come back on me if you're gonna. So,
yeah, no, just looking at the results, I think the ones that you got wrong, I probably got wrong too. I haven't accounted them yet, but yeah, I think we're on the same page on that front. But keeping it moving here with our Week 8 NFL recap. The next game I'm getting to is the Dolphins beating the Falcons 34-10. And this is one of those ones that I knew for a fact I got wrong, because the Falcons were at home in Atlanta, and the Dolphins, coming into the game at 1-6, absolutely destroyed the Falcons. And Tua Tagovailoa, who the week prior had -3 fantasy points and lost me my matchup because I started him instead of Trevor Lawrence, comes back in this game and he throws 4 touchdown passes to lead the Dolphins. And he and Jalen Waddle even recreated a play that they ran when they were at Alabama playing in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. And they recreated that play for a touchdown as Waddle comes over the middle from the left side, catches it, and then takes it up the right sideline and breaks away for a touchdown. That's the kind of game that this game is what I expected the Dolphins offense to be at its peak, with Mike McDaniel calling plays and running that offense. Tua Tagovailoa, the guy who got drafted 5th overall in 2020. This is who got drafted 5th overall. The guy who we've seen through the previous 7 weeks is not that guy. And so, will this be an anomaly? Will this end up being a sign of things to come? That will be interesting. But the funniest thing to me about this game is the fact that Zach Wilson actually attempted a pass in this game for the Dolphins. And so that was honestly the funniest part for me. It was he completed 1 of 1 passes for 0 yards. Congrats, Zach Wilson. You're collecting a paycheck, still in the league. Kudos to you. As this next game, Kaz, was another beatdown as the Bills beat the Panthers 40-9.
And, and my dumbass, like I said, I just literally said, like, I wanted to get ahead of you guys. So I thought it was cute. I'm like,
you're already hella ahead.
But you got to, on a short week, though, or sorry, a small week, you got that's a good time to take advantage. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I'm like, man, let me go ahead and be that guy and pick the Panthers to pull off this crazy upset. Why? Not because, I'm hoping for it, but I'm like, no, the Panthers have, dude, they've looked good. Then I didn't realize, because I'm stupid as hell, Bryce Young wasn't playing this game. Yes, my dumbass did not even, it wasn't a thought in my head. Out. Holy shit.
But the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton. Yeah,
even if Bryce played, the Bills came out of their bye week. I think I said in my weekly prediction videos, I said the Panthers are on a high and the Bills are coming off of a bye, and I just have a feeling the Bills are going to be a little sluggish. That's what I thought. I have never been more wrong in a game in my life. The Bills came out there and said, okay, you are the Carolina Panthers. Sit the fuck down. And that's just that. So like the fact that the Bills did what they did on the road against a team that's coming off a 2-game win streak, looking like supposedly they were supposed to be one of the worst teams in the league, which they're not. The Panthers are not. The Panthers are a team where I'm like, I would feel very uncomfortable playing them. I would, especially if the game mattered. If like, you know, it led to my team making it to the playoffs or whatever. The Panthers might spoil it for someone down the stretch. I can see it. Especially if Bryce is playing, but yeah, just a game I was wrong on. I thought the Panthers would show up and Rico Dowdle's gonna do what he do. I luckily this week did the right move, put in DeAndre Swift, and I benched Rico Dowdle in my fantasy. Luckily, I was scared. I was like, man, I don't know. It's Rico Dowdle, but I'm like, you know, this is one of them things where it's like, this is just a temporary thing. He's not a top running back in the NFL. Okay, it's a temp thing. He had 2 good weeks, awesome. Look like fucking prime Reggie Bush. Okay, we get it, but no, sat him. Smart move on my end. I think I end up winning that league because of that move. But yeah, the Panthers they're a respectable opponent, but the Bills are a true Super Bowl contender, and they did what they were supposed to do, man. That's it. The Bills, they're good. They're not better than the Patriots, but they're good.
My favorite part about this game was that the Bills' 3 captains coming out onto the field. I can't remember the name of one of them, but the other 2 were Shaq Thompson and Curtis Samuel. All 3 of those players are former Carolina Panthers. And so Sean McDermott, he exercised some pettiness coming into this game in Carolina, and he put his 3 former Panthers out there against Carolina as captains, and I thought that was pretty great, especially because Shaq Thompson is a guy who's from Sacramento, and I've followed his career for a long time. I've actually gotten a chance to interview him when he did an event for it was a dental event for kids who don't have insurance, and he's a really nice guy, still in the NFL, now playing for the Bills, and that was my favorite part about this game is getting to the next one. The Patriots beat the Browns 32-13, and as you were saying earlier, Kaz, the Patriots, they look like legitimate candidates to win the AFC East.
I hope they do, bro. I hope they do so bad. Oh my God.
Man, they're looking good. As Drake May, he threw 3 touchdowns in this game, and Myles Garrett, he had 5 sacks in this game, and it ultimately didn't matter. And I actually have a stat about Myles Garrett because Myles Garrett, he had those 5 sacks in the 19-point loss against the Patriots. He became the first player in NFL history to have 5 sacks and lose by more than 3 points. That's what the Browns are. He set a single game franchise record, but it ultimately didn't matter because they lost by 19 points. And ultimately, Myles Garrett, he decided to get paid in Cleveland. And so therefore, he chose money over winning. But the thing that I don't understand sometimes, whether it be Mike Trout in baseball or Myles Garrett in football, is no matter where you go in professional sports, if you are a top-tier player, you're going to get paid hundreds of millions of dollars. Does it really make a difference whether if you're getting paid $120 million versus $140 million? Because that $20 million gap, yeah, that is a significant chunk of change, but you're already extremely wealthy. And by sacrificing that $20 million, you may enjoy your NFL career a lot more because you end up playing for a winning organization that is competing for Super Bowls and winning games. But Myles Garrett chose to get the top dollar during his holdout, and he didn't stand his ground. He decided to get paid as much as the Browns could pay him, and now he is left in purgatory that is known as Cleveland. So feel bad for Myles Garrett, but at the same time, I don't. But he is a future Hall of Famer, that's for sure. But when you look back at his career, it's going to be a bunch of individual success because the team he plays for is not going to get much as an organization. As Kaz, this next game is personal for you as the Eagles beat I almost said the Dolphins. The Eagles beat the Giants 38-20. And before I get your thoughts on this one, I just wanted to say, man, I am so heartbroken over Cam Scatterbo getting hurt. I'm so heartbroken. But what were your thoughts?
I'm sure you are. Yeah, I'm sure you are. I'm sure you guys are all so heartbroken by him just dislocating his ankle. You want to know how I feel about it?
I
don't give a fuck. Because 2 weeks ago, it was fuck the Eagles, frauds, Giants world, all that shit, yada, yada, yada. Cam Scatterboo and Jackson Dart leading with the crown of their helmets, hitting our players in the head, not getting any fines for it, mind you. Okay. And then this happens. Now, you already know, I don't wish injury on anybody. Never will do that in my life. I'm a former athlete. I will never wish somebody getting hurt. But it's part of the game. It's part of the game. The way it happened wasn't in a well, the Eagles did this to him type of way. It was an accident. It happens. There are how many players in the league right now that have injuries that come from the same kind of accidents? The problem is people love Cam Scatterboo for whatever the fuck reason they love him. I hate him. I absolutely hate this guy.
He's from Sacramento. That's where my love comes from.
Hey, and that's completely fine. Y'all can love what you want. I hate him. I hate everything about Cam Scatterboo. I'm the biggest Cam Scatterboo hater. Okay, now let me explain why. It's not that he's not good. It's I hate when players can be in the league and get away with things that other players cannot. He gets away with so much egregious activity being a rookie, and the world loves it. I'm like, if anybody else did the same shit, this would not be okay. But for some reason, Cam Scatterboo gets a pass because he looks like fucking the miniature version of Wolverine. Okay, cool. I get it. You're tough. You're stout. You're crazy. You're wild. You're like a Bash brother from fucking Mighty Ducks. I get it. And ended up, unfortunately, your ankle got dislocated, which he'll be fine. That's not the reason why I'm not too stressed about it either. It's a dislocation. He's going to be fine. It's not like his career's over. He didn't rupture an Achilles. He didn't blow out his kneecaps, or tear his patellar tendon like that. No, he dislocated an ankle. Now, if he snapped his ankle to the point where he broke his foot, a little bit more sympathy would come from me. But what I'll say is this. The move that happened on Cam Scatterboo was a football move. It was very normal. It was a freak accident. So be it. I'm looking past it. You want to know why?
Hip drop
Your hip drop is bullshit. Barely a hip drop. Now? That was barely a hip drop. Nothing about that. We can replay it all day. All day. Zach Bond even said it himself. He's like, there was no ill intent behind that tackle at all, obviously, because Zach Bond's a very stand-up guy.
I believe that, but still, the form of the tackle has been outruled.
Ain't no goddamn way that we look at that and go, that's a textbook hip drop tackle. Fuck no, hell no. It might have been knocking on the door of a hip drop tackle, but it's one of those things where it's like the way he plays the game of football, something was bound to happen either to him or to somebody else. That's all I'm going to say. The way he plays. Now, that specific play was it was just a pass play, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, when you play reckless all the fucking time, you're flirting with disaster. It just unfortunately happened to him in that kind of way. But he will be back. He will be fine. But I'm sorry, as an Eagles fan, seeing what happens when our guys get hurt and when we're in shambles and we're down bad, people smear us on the ground. They kick us. There's no sympathy. So I'm not the kind of guy to go, okay, let me be sympathetic for your guys. No, 2 weeks ago, it was fuck the Eagles, Zach Bond getting trucked by getting fucking hit in the fucking head by Cam Scatterboo. Okay. It's Jackson Dart literally taking off like a missile into people's heads. No, you guys are playing the fucking game wrong. I don't feel bad for the fact you guys get your ass kicked. And I even said in my weekly picks, I said, yo, the Eagles are going to kick the shit out of them for a couple reasons. One, it's Kelly Green Day. Y'all don't have to believe this shit, but you know what? There's just something about when your team's playing in their right shit. It's just different. It's like back in the day when the Eagles played in the alternative all blacks, the black jerseys. Okay, it's just a part of the mojo. 2, we're at home. 3, what y'all refuse to fucking believe for whatever reason. We have and always have been the better team. We are and always have been the better team than the Giants. Why the hell would we pick them to not get their ass whooped in Philadelphia? They got their ass whooped. And the only thing people are talking about is, but Cam Scatterboo. I got messages from people, cause I train kids, for a living, but they like football. So they mess me, they tease me a little bit. Well, if Cam Scatterboo's in the game, I go, if he was in the game, they still get beat by fucking 20 points. they still get whooped. Because Cam Scatterboo is not
thrown to him.
He's not Jonathan Taylor, he's not prime Saquon Derrick. He's not that. He's just an idea that people like. But let's just look at what it is, man, when it comes to Cam Scatterboo. I can respect a hard-nosed player. I like hard-nosed players, and I get why people like him. But he's in my division. He's not in your division, Shaun. Okay? He's a New York Giant. He's not a Philadelphia Eagle. I don't care about the guy. I didn't cheer for Jaden Daniels. I'm not cheering for Jackson Dart or Cam Scatterboo. I damn sure ain't cheering for fucking CeeDee Lamb or Javonte Williams or George Pickens or Dak Prescott. So just because he broke his ankle, Dak broke his ankle a few years ago too. You know what I said? That's unfortunate. Moving on. I don't care. And I think that if he was in the game, that the result would have been the same. So the fact that the Eagles did what they did, good. I wish it was worse. I ain't gonna lie to you, because I as a team, as a fan of a team that's really, really good, I don't like when teams that aren't as good as us or can't even hold our jock straps, they get us on a day. You know what I'm saying? Like the Giants did. They get us. They get us. And instead of respecting the fact that, man, we had a good game against a really good team, it's the opposite. It's shit talking. It's you're fraudulent. Y'all ain't shit. Cam Scatterboo owns you. Okay, cool. Cam Scatterboo walked off on a cart. That's what I saw. Well, don't be that guy, Kaz. Don't be evil. I'm not being evil. It's a football play. It happened. It is what it is. But your Lord and Savior was getting his ass whooped expeditiously. Let's not ignore that. So, Giants fans, I gotta do you the same way I did Commanders fans last year. Y'all felt good. Then you got bent over. Moving on. Next week, the bye week. That's how I feel about that. Hope dislocated ankle is something he'll recover from. He'll be fine. But no, I'm not gonna sit here and have these fake ass tears for Cam Scatterboo and all that stuff. No, because the end result would have still been the end result, without a doubt in my mind.
And I'm not disputing that. I'm sure Giants fans have disputed that and will continue to dispute that. But my biggest reason for being sad about Cam Scatterboo, number one, he's from Sacramento, from a suburb called Rio Linda within Sacramento County. Went to Sacramento State to start his NFL career when I was still a student there, covering them for the student newspaper. And so I got to cover the beginning of Cam Scatterboo's college career before he went off to Arizona State. And now seeing him in the NFL, it's pretty exciting for me. And Kaz, the biggest thing for me, like aside from putting my own city bias out there, I have Cam Scatterboo, and I say have in current tense. I have Cam Scatterboo on all 4 of my fantasy teams. And so that was not 1, 2, 3, 4 gut punches to me on Sunday. And so I'm sad for Cam Scatterboo, the player. Sorry. I appreciate it. Thank you. But yeah, it sucks for my fantasy teams. And so keeping things moving here on episode 164 of Stats Over Politics, Shaun Holko alongside Kaz Johnson. Kevin Dent had to step away, and he will be back with us next week. Now, Kaz, we'll just get to these final 3 games, and then we'll close things out, and I'll handle 2 of them. As the Buccaneers beat the Saints 23-3, the Buccaneers were handling the Saints so easily in this game that Baker Mayfield got to get some rest, or I thought he got some rest. I could have sworn – oh, no, it was Spencer Rattler got some rest as they put Tyler Shough in the game. And Tyler Shough, he didn't do much better. You compare the numbers of the 2 New Orleans quarterbacks. Spencer Rattler goes 15-21 for 136 yards, 0 touchdowns, and an interception. Tyler Shough, 17 of 30, 128 yards, and an interception. Rattler's averaging 6.5 yards per throw. Shough is averaging 4.3 yards per throw. So to me, that just reads as a bunch of checkdowns. And I feel bad. Like, free my guy, Chris Olave from the Ohio State University, wide receiver U. Free Chris Olave. Trade him to a better team. He deserves better. He deserves an actual quarterback because Rattler and Shough are not it. The Buccaneers, they did what they had to do, and they bounced back after that Monday Night Football loss against the Lions. And so I still believe that the Buccaneers are the favorites, the clear favorites to win the NFC South, because you have a team like the Falcons who are supposed to be competing with them for it, getting absolutely boat raced by the Dolphins at home. The Panthers are on the rise, but they're not it yet. And the Saints are the Aints, as the Buccaneers proved in this game. As Kaz, once again, we're talking about the team from Indianapolis as the Colts beat the Titans 38-14 to move to 7-1, the best record in the NFL.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. They're good. They're good.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
I'm saying. Yeah. Last week I said I just say they're
You
bad.
weren't a believer,
but I was not. Yeah, no, they're good. Yeah, that's I don't know, man. I mean, obviously it's Titans, so let's just call it what it is. We all knew they were going to be the Titans. The Titans are terrible. Titans are the Jets. You know what I'm saying? The Jets, the Cardinals, they're a bad football team. But man, the Colts. Oh shit. I'm not, as an Eagles fan, like I'm not. I mean, they're in the AFC anyways, but like even if they weren't, I'm not scared of them. But damn, they're good, bro. Like they got. I think it's because they don't have nothing to lose, really. You know what I mean? Nobody expected them to come out there and do this, and now they're doing it. It's like, okay, let's just keep the ball rolling. You know, Jonathan Taylor, best running back in the NFL right now. I believe Michael Pittman had also a good game too as well. Finally, thank God. Can't say a negative thing about Daniel Jones. They got our former, offensive coordinator Shane Steichen over there as head coach. That's a well-ran program, man. And they're in a weak division and they're taking full advantage of it. And I love it. I do. I can't wait to see you when they make the playoffs, them play, a Kansas City or, probably a Chargers team, or Bills. If I was in AFC and first round of the playoffs, I would not want to see Indiana. No, hell no. I don't care who you are. There's not a team in the AFC right now that I feel can just outright beat the Colts. Best record in football. Outside of that, in the AFC, I don't see a team that can just go out there and say, you know what? Sit down, little bro. No. So you can already chalk it up that if the Colts continue doing what they're doing, they're winning that first playoff game. They're going to, if they don't get the first round bye, they're winning the wild card game. They will be one way or another into the divisional round of the playoffs. That's all I'm going to say. So, I mean, shout out the Colts for doing what they're supposed to do and beating the Titans. What do you want to say about it?
It's not an impressive win, but the fact that they are 7-1 now and they have made a believer out of you as they've made a believer out of me. And I think it's a great story. They're winning for Jim Irsay, their owner who passed away, and it's just a matter of what they will do when they get to the playoffs. Because as you mentioned, they are cruising to an AFC South title, and now it's just a matter of what are they going to do and who are they going to face when the playoffs come. But to hear you say that the Colts are going to make it to at least the divisional round of the playoffs after what we were talking about a couple weeks ago when I asked you about it, that makes me happy to hear, because
they're beating the shit out of teams. They're beating the shit out of teams. It's not like they're getting by. Like the Jags early on, they were getting by because the Jags, and I respect the Jags. I think the Jags will be fine, but like they're getting by. The Colts they're beating the shit out of teams. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you want to say? They're doing what the Eagles were doing like last season with Saquon. It's where it's like, okay, what are you going to do about it? Like, our defense is top tier, and we have a running back that's going to rush for 7,000 yards a game. What are you going to do? And they're doing the same thing. So that's a good team.
It is. And I'm glad that you're buying in. It took a couple more weeks, but I'm glad that you're buying in. As the last game that we're getting to from week 8 in the NFL is the Broncos beating the Cowboys 44-24. And the Broncos kept multiple streaks going on in this game as they extended their home winning streak to 9 games, which is the longest active home winning streak in the NFL as it dates back to last season. The Cowboys have still yet to beat the Broncos for 30 years now. Somehow, some way, the Cowboys have not beat the Denver Broncos for 30 years. They have not won in Denver in 33 years. It is absolutely crazy to me that stat exists, but the Broncos just seem to be the Cowboys' kryptonite. And Bo Nix, he looked great again in this game. 19 of 29, 247 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. Yeah, you want to scratch that interception off, but to have it balanced out by 4 touchdowns in this game, I thought it was a great game and a great performance from Bo Nix. And also, we saw my guy from the Ohio State. I have so many guys in the NFL because they all came from the Ohio State University, but J.K. Dobbins, 15 carries for 111 yards in this game. They've really been leaning a lot on R.J. Harvey and even Marvin Mims. But J.K. Dobbins showed in this game that he's the vet. He's the one who should be getting a majority of the carries and then have R.J. Harvey come in to balance it out, mix it up. But I was really happy to see J.K. Dobbins merge in this game. And we talked a lot earlier, Kaz, about the Chiefs and the fact that the Chiefs are still perennial contenders. And Kevin was saying earlier that it's the Chiefs Invitational with the AFC Championship game. But the Broncos, they're looking pretty great as well. And as Kevin and I talked about last week, it's looking like the AFC West is actually the best division in football, because last week Kevin and I were talking, is it the NFC West? Is it the AFC West? After a 49ers loss this week, I feel like I can definitively say that it's the AFC West, because the Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs, they all very well may make the playoffs versus, okay, you're going to have a division winner out of the NFC West, but after that, maybe you have one wild card team. I don't know if you have 2 wild card teams from the NFC West. I can confidently say at this point, halfway through the season almost, that it's looking like we're going to get 3 playoff teams from the AFC West, and the Broncos have really proved themselves. And also, finally, shout out to Sean Payton, because Sean Payton has gotten a lot of flack for the way that he operates, the fact that he basically exiled Russell Wilson. And Kevin and I were joking last week about the back and forth between Russell Wilson and Sean Payton after that Giants game. But Sean Payton has proven that he is a winning NFL coach. He's come into Denver and he's revitalized that team. And the results speak for themselves as the Broncos get a 20-point win against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys streak of being unable to beat the Broncos lives on, as Gray Wolf says, typical Cowboys. And he also says, and unfortunately, PS2 is going to be out for a couple of weeks before we even go against the Chiefs. And so finally, from Gray Wolf, noted Denver Broncos fan, also says 5-game win streak. It's been an impressive streak for the Broncos. I have family who live in Boulder, and so I have a lot of family that are Broncos fans. And except for when they're playing my Niners, I tend to root for the Broncos. And so, Kaz, are we still saying let's ride?
The Broncos. I mean, I say the same thing I said about the Colts. They're a good team. Fuck. I was Bo Nix is somebody I was wrong on from the jump last year.
Me too.
Rookie year, I'm like, this he's a bum, bro. Like, Cam Scatterboo is what Bo Nix actually is. A gritty guy, a fun guy to watch, but actually is the guy. Okay, I want you to understand. Bo Nix is him. He's won the hard games. He's won games with his arm. He's won games with his legs. And you know who he reminds me a lot of? I'm gonna hold you. Jalen Hurts. Yep. He reminds a lot of Jalen Hurts, where it's like you look at the guy and you're like, well, what is he doing? He's not out here having a Drake May performance where he's just threading the needle. He's not out here, Lamar Jackson, where he's running the ball for 7 yards a game. But when he needs to do it, he does exactly what needs to be done. The dude has 2 major comeback wins this season, big time 4th quarter wins. Okay, one against my Birds, one against the last week who they played. I can't remember exactly. It was the who the Broncos played last week. They came back. They scored 30.
Came back to beat the Giants, right?
Yeah. Giants. Yeah, sorry. And now they beat comfortably the best offense in football, pretty much. That's a scary team, man. That's a good team.
Held them to 22 points.
Yeah, that's a good team. I said I picked the Cowboys to win. I said this game's gonna be over at halftime because the Broncos keep playing from behind, and that's not something you want to do. You don't want to just we'll play from behind and we'll just come back. At some point, a team will take advantage of that. So the fact that they got those shitty games out where they play from behind against us and the Giants, okay, now it's time to just go out there and outright win a game. And somehow, some way, they did it against, again, arguably the best offense in football. I don't want to say they're the best. I'm not really sure where they're at stats wise, yards per game, but I know they're up there. The Cowboys have one of the best offenses. We'll see, man. The AFC West is very interesting. It's very interesting because the Chiefs are making a comeback. Justin Herbert's the leading passer in the NFL right now, unless that's changed in the past couple of days, 2 days. The Broncos have an awesome defense. Bo Nix is a guy. RJ Harvey is just now getting active. Think about that. I have him on fantasy. They're doing it the right way. Hey, go out there, J.K. Dobbins. You're the veteran. You're the workhorse. You're an injury-prone guy. You've torn your Achilles twice, I think it was. Okay, we don't know how long you're going to last. Go out there, revitalize your career to the best ability. Do you know what's going to happen in the second half of the season? RJ Harvey. I'm letting you know right now. Yes, this is textbook running back. Just tender love and care 101. You have a good running back. You have a young running back. You don't put the young guy out there, have him go out there and fuck up. No. You keep him just on the back burner a little bit. Think about Jahmyr Gibbs. When Jahmyr Gibbs came in the league, was he the premier back right away? No. What'd they do? David Montgomery. Everybody's like, but Jahmyr Gibbs, he's supposed to be this guy, this and that, and he's look at his tape. Easy. Chill out. We know. We got it. Luckily, Monty's doing what he does. Y'all understand that the reason why running backs don't get paid a lot of money is because they have to make it through the whole season. And their career is really short. Why they're really short? Because it's really hard. It's very hard for running backs to just do what Saquon did last year and do what Derrick Henry has done in multiple years. Those are anomalies. Y'all understand that, right? It's very rare for a running back to go through an entire season and be healthy. Do you think a running back's going to be healthy in the first 6 weeks of football or the last 6 weeks? Trust me, they're going to be filling up a lot more in the last 6 weeks than they were in the first 6 weeks. So the fact that RJ Harvey's just kind of sitting there, getting you 7-8 fantasy points a game. Okay, had a good game last week, but just kind of sitting there. He's going to be activated here soon, and that's going to be one of the reasons why the Broncos are going to fight for that division. I think that you said it best. The AFC West. You didn't say it confidently. I'll say it. I think they are the best division of football. I think they are. I think that the Chargers, they have the best quarterback in football right now. The Broncos have one of the best teams in football right now, and the Chiefs are the Kansas City Chiefs, man. Personnel-wise and who they have there and what they've already been doing year after year after year after year. That's the best division of football right now. It honestly is. A close second, I would say, if they didn't lose this week, the NFC North. If the Bears didn't lose to the Ravens, I would say the NFC North, the Bears, the Packers, and the Lions. Because the Vikings are in shambles because, obviously Carson Wentz being under the helm or whatever, cool. But if the Bears win, that means the Bears are, 5-2. The Lions are the Lions. The Packers, obviously the Packers. We know the Packers are going to make the playoffs. We know the Packers and Lions both make the playoffs. They actually might be the division that has 3 teams in the playoffs. Think about it. Say the Bears win the Bears next few games, their schedule's easy. They fucked up this week. They were supposed to win this game, especially with no Lamar Jackson, but they didn't. But if they did, like I said, now the Bears are what? They're 5-2. That's a good division. So the NFC North, the AFC West, kind of back and forth. You could argue the NFC West, with the Seahawks and the Niners and the Rams. And I get that, but I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Like between the Lions and the Packers alone, the NFC North is probably washing the NFC West, if you were to ask me. Let me ask you, Shaun. You're a Niners fan. You guys just got your ass whooped by the Texans. Do you want to see the Lions? Do you want to see the Packers?
Nope.
Okay.
Not at
all.
all.
You want to, what I'm saying? Do you want to see the Chargers, or do you want to see the Chiefs, or do you want to see the Broncos? You see what I'm saying? It's not that your team can't do it, but the fact of the matter is we can't discredit the fact that the NFC North is a very tough division. Okay.
In that scenario, I I agree with you. The AFC West is the best division in football. But based on the scenario that you just posed to me, I would be more scared of the NFC North as a 49ers fan, as a fan of any team. But specifically as a 49ers fan, obviously they would see those NFC teams first rather than whoever ends up on the AFC side, and it always ends up being the Chiefs. But just looking at it from a forgetting about the conference perspective, I am more afraid of the Packers and the Lions, not the Bears, but the Packers and the Lions. I'm afraid of my team playing in the playoffs. I'm afraid of the Chiefs. I'm not really afraid of the Chargers, the Broncos, because the Chargers and the Broncos, to me, need to prove themselves in the playoffs before I start to fear the Chargers and the Broncos on that level.
Fair enough. But I just didn't want to leave out the fact that I think the NFC North. I mean, last year the NFC North was one of the most competitive divisions in football.
Yeah.
The Vikings were a force. I mean, again, Sam Darnold got a job because of his performance last year with the Vikings. The Bears, they played every team to like one score last year. People don't want to talk about that. Like, it's like, oh, they're losing. It's like, bro, they're not getting their ass kicked. They're not the Browns. They're playing good football, just losing. Okay, Packers playoff team. Lions, Super Bowl caliber team, you know what I'm saying? So like the NFC North is a problem. The NFC East, if Jaden Daniels panned out in Washington, I would say the NFC East could be in the talk, with the Eagles and the Cowboys and possibly the Commanders, but from the way it looks right now, NFC East is two teams and one super team, which is us. We obviously are the best team in the NFC East, and it's not really even close, honestly, but every other division outside of the AFC West and the NFC North, to me, they don't really hold a candle to those two divisions. So,
yeah, I think that you make a great point regarding the NFC North, because that's a division that Kevin and I were not even thinking about last week when we were talking about the best divisions in football. We were just looking at the two from the West side, and yeah, the AFC and NFC West are great, but you make a great point that the NFC North is right up there. And if the Bears were to have won this past week, then you could argue that the NFC North is, again, the best division in football. But we will leave it there. I'll just say as a quick tidbit, as it's 10:13 p.m. Over here on the West Coast, but where you're at, Kaz, it's already past midnight. When I turned off my TV to come and join the podcast for today's episode, the world, and I know you don't really watch baseball too much, Kaz, but I just got to say for the listeners,
where they I saw it was tied. It was like in 12th inning. What
so when I turned off my TV, it was the beginning of the top of the ninth, tied 5-5 between the Blue Jays and the Dodgers, and I literally thought to myself, well, I hope it goes into extras and it goes into the night, so then I can see the end of this game. And now at 10:14 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, it's still 5-5.
No way.
14th. Yeah, it's in the top of the 14th inning. I had the ESPN box score loaded up on the play-by-play on my phone just for these last 5 minutes. The Dodgers just had the bases loaded with 2 outs, and they had a chance to get a hit to win the game. And Freddie Freeman, he flew out to center field, and so the game goes on to the 14th inning. I'm gonna go catch the end of that. Kaz, thank you for sticking with me.
It's in the 15th right now, bro. 15th inning.
Oh, it is.
Yes,
oh shoot! Then my ESPN app is not even loading well. Then.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I'm gonna try to go catch the end of that. Kaz, thank you for sticking with me on today's episode. I really appreciate it. And as Grey Wolf says, it's bottom of the 14th inning. So yeah, I guess my ESPN app is just like super lagging behind.
Time zones, brother. Time zone. It's time zones. It's just time zones. Yeah. It just gets to a certain time. Yeah. It gets to certain phones differently.
I got you. That makes sense. Well, thanks again, Kaz, for sticking with me on today's episode. I appreciate you as always. And that's going to do it for us here on episode 164. Make sure to give us a like on YouTube. It helps us a lot. And if you enjoy the podcast, hit subscribe to get notifications when we go live. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at StatsOverPolitics, and on X at StatsOverPolitics. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on all podcast platforms. And if you're enjoying the show, give us those 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it. As you guys have been tuned in to episode number 164 of Stats Over Politics. For my guys, Jaevon, Toddy, Kevin Dent, Kaz Johnson, Gary Singh, I've been your host, Shaun Holko. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week on another episode of Stats Over Politics. Good night, Grey Wolf. I see you in the comments.